Estate agent fees are one of the biggest costs when selling your home, and most home sellers overpay. But in the last 15 years, I've negotiated agent fees down over 500 times. My process is simple, no haggling, no cringe, anyone can do it, and it saved me hundreds of thousands of pounds. I follow a simple 60-second script every time I do it, and I just recorded a 20-minute walkthrough video showing you exactly how and when to use it. So you can get the one-pager for free in the description below. So let's jump in and save you some money. In this video, I'm going to talk you through a one-page script. You should have the PDF available to download, and I'm going to talk you through it one by one just to add a bit more, answer some of the common questions, do a bit of a live run through, and share a few other thoughts about how to actually kind of do this in practice. It's very much one thing to be kind of told here, just say these words, but it's not like we're kind of casting a magic spell or anything like that. It is in delivery, it is in context. That's a lot of kind of what's going on here. So that's why I wanted to make this video to kind of make sure it helps. So let me share this screen with you, and what we'll do here is zoom in and let's chat through this bit by bit. So this is my one-page agent fee negotiation script. For context, this is not exactly the same as the script that I use, because the one I use has a slightly different context because it's like a business to business sale, but it's pulling all of the same levers that I pull in those negotiations to literally save like hundreds of thousands of pounds in fees over the years. This works really, really well. I've successfully taught this to everyone I've tried to teach this to, who's joined our team over the years. So I really hope you'll have some good luck with it, and it will save you money. And that's and you know, like you may have come through kind of one of the videos I did about agent fees. Like, reminder here, and this is why I've included the other workshop for you, which we'll talk about at the end. This is not just about finding an agent and paying them as little as possible. It's actually about finding the best agent and just paying them a fair fee. You'll end up way better off if we do that. So let's start going through this. So purpose: use this script to negotiate a lower fee with agents. When to use it when you are ready to sign with them. Okay, so we're not going to call an agent and say, hey, what's your thinking about selling, what's your fees, and go into a negotiation. That's like the worst moment we can negotiate, because it's so far from the finish line. We actually want to negotiate with these agents when we're in touching distance for them. They're like, oh gosh, we've nearly got one here. We've nearly got one. And we say, look, if you can do this fee, then we'll sign up with you, and we'll do it this week. We'll do it today. That's the moment. Use it when we are ready to sign with them. So as I say here, get the valuations out of the way, get their quote, do it with all the agents that you're speaking with who you've shortlisted, decide which agent you want to use, and then call them with this. We're doing this on the close, basically. So tip: when you meet the agent. So this is where kind of context comes in here. You may have seen in my other videos, like, agents sell half the properties they take on. That's the stat. The other half of the properties either get taken off the market completely and the people decide not to sell, or they move on to a different agent. So agents know when they take on a new property that there's a 50-50 chance all the time they spend on it is going to be completely wasted. And so what we want to do during our interactions with them, not just at the last minute when we're negotiating the fee, but actually all in the run up to it, is plant the seed. We are not one of those 50% of time wasters. We're one of those real sellers. There is a fee in us. And that's the way that we do that, is we want to convey that we are serious about selling. We're not testing the market. We're not kind of thinking we might sell, we might stay here a few years. We're not testing the market. We need to sell. And let's be really frank and let them know the situation. That's why we're going to do it this way. Now, I mentioned this later on. There's a caveat here. If this isn't true, don't say it. We don't want these agents lying to us. Let's not lie to them. I put a bit more about that later on. But for most people, you are going to be serious about selling. You are really going to want the job done. This is a really valuable lever that we pull. Let's plant those seeds early in the conversations with them. When we meet them at the house, we're talking about why we're selling and so on. Note, if their fee is already less than 0.8% or less than, say, 2.5 grand plus VAT, I wouldn't negotiate. It's already a low fee, and so there's already alarm bells ringing for me a little bit. If an agent, the first fee they quote is like 0.6% plus VAT, unless you've got a property that's like a £1 million plus or something, I'm a little bit nervous already, and I feel like you're already, if they're a good agent, which hopefully you may have seen some of my other stuff and made sure you're picking a good agent, I think you've already got a decent deal, and so I wouldn't necessarily push it and try and negotiate, because I do start worrying that those margins are so razor thin for these agents that they kind of start thinking, gosh, we just can't afford to, spend much time on this one. I don't see that kind of thing happen a lot, really, but I suspect it might on these really low cost agents. So I'm like, if you've got a good agent and that's the fee, you've already won. So I don't think you necessarily need to negotiate. That's rare that happens, though. For the most part, you're going to be getting quotes like 1% plus VAT, 1.25, 1.5%. Some do even more. That's where, let's negotiate. And I think we've got a good chance of getting the fee down. Now, just to give a bit more context on this, your chance of success varies really, really widely depending on who the agent is. So, for example, this breaks down into two main categories. So the first one is like the actual type of estate agent company. So some of the really big corporate companies like a Countrywide, Connells, like that kind of category of agents. The thing with these guys is, they've got thousands of agents working for them. You don't, as a company, I guess, you don't want thousands of people all over the country haggling on fees. So they just set firm rules and are just like, you can't go below this fee. And so if you're up against someone in that position, there's just not that much that they can do to accommodate you, even if they wanted to, even if they were happy to take a hit. People upstairs say that they can't. So there is that to bear in mind. The other category of this is like the actual individual. So some agents will be incentivized based on signing you up at a higher fee. They will make more money. And so, and some just do it out of pride. Some want to know that they get good fees out of their clients, and they don't have to negotiate down to close a deal. And so you might just be up against a really good negotiator who's not willing to come down. Now, the way I would feel about either of them personally, especially the second one, is okay, if we've got someone who's great at negotiating and won't give up, 0.25% on the fee or something, I'm kind of glad that person's around when they're negotiating the sale of my house, which is worth several £100,000. So this fee negotiation is a really double-edged sword, because if they capitulate really fast, you start thinking, okay, maybe they're do I need to be worried that this was too easy and I've done too well at this? The reason I say that is don't be too worried if they don't come down loads on the fee. Sometimes it's just not there, but at least you've tried. You're not going to get to completion, pay a £5,000 bill and be kicking yourself thinking, should I have got this down by £2,000? At least you tried and you've got the best outcome possible. That peace of mind can be quite valuable. So let's talk through this then. So we've just said, we've done all the work. We're ready to sign up with this agent. Now we're going to call them. I would rather do this over the phone, partly because it's a script, partly because it just takes a bit of the, for most people, having an agent in their home or going in the office and trying to negotiate with other people around, it's quite an intense environment. It's a lot more relaxed and easier just over the phone. So most people are a lot more comfortable with that. So call the agent. You want to go ahead, get the person you met with on the phone. You probably spoke with the valuation manager, who's a pretty senior person in the office, maybe the branch manager themselves. They're going to be the one you've got a relationship already, and the kind of highest decision maker that you probably have access to. So we ask for them. Hi, blank. And the gist of this, we're being polite. We're building a relationship with them. And the kind of thing that we're trying to do here, you'll see. Let's talk about it. So this is the way I would say it. Thanks for all the time that you spent with us and all your guidance with the price. I wanted to speak with you about potentially moving forward. There is one thing that's holding us back, though. I totally understand your fee. You quoted 1.5% plus VAT, and I'm sure you're worth the money. For us, though, we're really committed to selling. We're not going to be one of those people who hangs around for 6 months, then takes it off market. And we're going to price this really realistically as well to make sure that we sell. But because of that, as you can imagine, it means it's really important for us to look at our costs as well, which means fees. So if we do sign up with you this week, and given we are going to price realistically and we are 100% committed to this process, how low would you be prepared to go with your fee? That's kind of the way that I would approach this. You'll notice here, we're not like insulting them and saying you're too expensive, you're not worth that. If you take that approach, it kind of sounds like you're not worth the money, you should come down. It kind of makes sense to negotiate that way. The problem is, it kind of just invites this response of like, well, if we're so bad, don't use us then. It's not like a great premise for like a good working relationship or a successful negotiation. We want to be complimentary. We want to say you are worth the money. We just owe it to ourselves to get a good deal though. And we are going to price it realistically, and we are going to be a really good customer for you. How low would you be prepared to go? You'll see the other thing here. We're not trying to get them down by 2.2%. We're not trying to get them down by 0.25%. They might be willing to go way lower. And so we're going to ask them, how low are you prepared to go? If they go lower than we think, that's a win. If they don't go as low, we just get to ask again in stage 2. And so we're going to invite them to tell us their lowest. Now, they may put some defenses up for this. They may just put it back and say that there's no negotiation. I would still personally continue with the script. They obviously want to say there's no room for negotiation, even if there was, because they're trying to shut the conversation down. So don't be half of the aim here is to get a no. That don't see that as failure, just see that as part of this kind of 3-stage negotiation process that I'm sharing with you here. So let me just go back through this. So potentially moving forward. Now, we don't want to say we really want to move forward, we're going to sign up. Can you do it for less money though? Because it's well, no, you've already told me you're signing up at the fee I quoted, and so no, what we're saying here is we are going to sign up if you can do this. It's holding us back at the moment. Can you help us solve this problem? That's what we're saying. And it's also a nice kind of thing of we're working together side by side. This is what I was always taught about kind of sales, is this is not us versus them. This is side by side, trying to kind of work together to agree a fee that we can move forward with. At the moment, we're stuck because, we are going to sell at a low price. So we've got to watch it. Not a low price. We are going to sell at a realistic price. So we have got to watch our costs. What can we do? Can we work together on this? That's the vibe and the kind of feel that I would want you to have going in. It's not us versus them. So that's kind of what we would say there. Now, let's say that their original quote was 1.25. Sorry, let's say their original quote was 1.5. Okay, and they say, yeah, we could do it for 1.25 plus VAT. We would say that's a higher number than we want. We would say, okay, I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. But really, I was wondering if you'd be prepared to take us on at 1% plus VAT. And we're just going to push an extra step lower. These fees often work in 0.25% or 0.2% increments. This is going to get you a yes or a no or a halfway kind of thing. But again, there's no harm in asking. So that's kind of the second stage. And you'd be amazed at how far you can get just putting it back on the agent in this way, giving them a number to meet. This it can get you so far. Now, you are going to have situations, though, where they say, no, I'm sorry, there's just nothing I can do. And often the easiest thing for them to do is blame someone else, blame their manager, their director. They're probably not going to say, I just don't want to do it for less than that. They're going to say it's someone else's fault. I'm just not a decision maker. It's the easiest get out that they have. That's what you'll get most often. So if you hear that kind of thing, say, okay, I understand. I think we do really want to go with you, but it's just going to be a really hard decision because I know we can save quite a lot of money with some of the other quotes that we've had. Is there anyone else you can speak with to try and get this signed off for us at 1% plus VAT if we're going to make a decision this week, or if we're going to sign up with you today? It's that kind of thing. So we're inviting them now to go away and speak with someone else. And again, you will find, like, you'd be surprised if you have kind of made these points quite well when you met and had a decent working relationship with the people, they are going to want to bring you on board. And so that's and they're going to go away. Maybe they're going to speak with someone. Maybe they're not even going to, and they'll just politely say they'll try, and they'll call you back and say no. Maybe they will try. Sometimes it's going to be a yes, sometimes it's going to be a no. But the idea with this script is we're giving ourselves the best chance possible through these 3 stages. We've had 3 attempts at doing this. The idea is A, get the lowest fee that this agent is happy agreeing, and B, kind of, you're going to have the peace of mind that at least you've tried and you've got them to, like, for me personally, if an agent doesn't drop their fee based on any of these, I'm feeling like they just have a rule that they just don't do it. That's what I think in most cases. So I don't think you're missing out if it comes back with a no to all of this stuff. So that's kind of it. So with, we've done literally about 60 seconds of talking. I think that's like 200 words. It's really not a lot. 60 seconds of talking. We've given ourselves 3 attempts at getting a lower fee. We've been polite and courteous the whole time. We're putting it in the agent's interest to kind of work with us and negotiate. It's not like this weird, slippery or haggly kind of thing that's going to make loads of people uncomfortable. This is really easy for anyone to do, and it's fair enough. Remember, you're spending thousands of pounds here. There are companies who do this sort of service for cheaper. Now, you might not want to use them, but that is the case. And so they can't blame you. They can't hold it against you for asking them to proceed at a lower fee. So easy for anyone to do. Quick tip. Now, if the thought of doing this does make you uncomfortable, a couple of things. This obviously feels really natural coming out of my mouth because I wrote it. Different people say stuff in different ways. So if you want to open another Word document and type out a version that sounds like stuff you would say, the little kind of follow-ons and different turns of phrases that you personally use, do that. Like I said before, this is not like a magic spell. These are like levers that we're pulling throughout the conversation. Pull them in your way of speaking as well, and it's going to come off more natural. You're going to be more comfortable, and you're going to have a better chance of success. So that's absolutely fine. If it still makes you uncomfortable, I don't think it's crazy to just practice it 20 times first. Might take you a few minutes to do this, but if that saves you £1,000 or £2,000 in fees, that 20 minutes, half an hour you spent going through this might actually be like some of the best paid work you ever do. So I really don't think you're crazy for wanting to do that. And as you can imagine, especially in my early days, I practiced this script to death because we paid so many agents and had so much to gain by getting a decent rate. So one caveat, and this is and remember, worst they can say is no. No one's going to live or die based on how this conversation goes. They're not going to hold it against you. The worst they can say is no, same price. And you're no worse off than when we started. At least you'll have that peace of mind knowing that you have the best deal. Don't ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. So give it a go. One caveat in this script, and this is what I mentioned earlier, we pulled a couple of these levers to tilt the negotiation in our favor. We said we're 100% committed to selling. We said we'll price it realistically. When I put realistically, I mean we're not overpricing it. That's really what I'm not talking about, trying to give it away cheap. We definitely don't want to do that. There's no point saving $1,000 in agent fees and selling it for 10 grand less than it's worth. We're not talking about doing that. What we are talking about doing is just not overpricing it. So many homeowners overprice their properties. Something like 36% have to be reduced before they sell, and the average reductions are like 10 to 20 grand. Those are like averages. So many people overprice the property. Remember, most people negotiate down from their asking price as well, so that's another chunk of like overpricing that so many people do. What I'm kind of saying is like, let's use the agent and work with them to figure out what it's actually worth and price to try and achieve those sorts of prices, not way above. That's the other thing that we're kind of saying here is like, we want to price it realistically, and we're following your advice. Like, you know, it's another reason that they should be happy to take us on a more competitive fee, because it is, we're following their recommendations. We're putting them in the driving seat and trusting them. So they should back themselves the way we're backing them, is kind of what we're saying. But so we've pulled these couple of levers in this negotiation. Please, like, only say this stuff if it's actually true for you. If it's not, don't say it. Like, it's not really fair. We don't want our agents lying to us, so we shouldn't lie to them. That's really how I feel about it. So please bear in mind if you do use this script. So that is that's the end. This is I hope this has been helpful for you. Like I said, take a few run throughs, see how you feel free to write it in your own voice. Get that agent on the kind of last call when you're ready to go with them, and then run into it like this. We can go with you if we can get this agreed. It's that kind of thing. Two final things. So getting a good fee with the agent is only part of it. It is so important that you choose the right estate agent. Yes, it makes a huge difference which agent you go with. And so on the page you find this video, there will be a link to a workshop I put together for people when they start their home sale process for the first time. It talks about how to find the best agent, why choice of agent is important, why we use 2 agents instead of just 1. We talk as well about valuation and price setting and a couple of other bits and pieces. I think it's about 45 minutes long, but it's very in depth. We've had a load of really good feedback on it. And again, it's completely free. So take a look at that to make sure you're actually picking the best agents to negotiate these fees with. And I guess last thing, you know, if you go through all of this and you are kind of a mind that this feels like a lot of work, you want someone you can trust to just deal with it all for you. We do have a service that does that. It is not for everyone. Loads of people are going to be fine doing this themselves. But if you are more serious, or if you want a quick sale, or you don't want the headaches, take a look at that link. I'll pop a link somewhere near this video as well. You can follow. You can learn all about how our process works and actually when we manage sales for clients. So really hope this has been helpful. Happy home selling. Good luck. I hope this saves you some money. I hope your sale goes really smoothly. Good luck with everything, and thanks for watching. Okay, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, click the link in the description to get a copy of that script for free. You can also join my private mailing list there as well. They actually got access to this video a few weeks before I released it here publicly on YouTube. So if you want more stuff like this in the future, make sure you're on there. How to negotiate a good fee is just one thing I've learned from dealing with estate agents for the last 15 years. To see 9 more things I wish I knew first, watch this video next, which will help you get the most bang for your buck when using estate agents.